How's it going, guys? It's Porrick here. I thought it was about time I did another video for you guys. The season is just coming to an end here in Immeln. It's been really busy, obviously, with everybody not being able to go away on holidays. I guess people are getting outside more, kind of exploring their own countries. And yeah, here in Sweden we've had a lot of traffic coming through the canoe centre, which has been really nice. But it's coming to the end of the season now. Kids are back in school. We're coming into the middle of August now. And I thought, yeah, it's about time that I made another video, because the last one I did wasn't, well, it was way back before the summertime. And as you can see, obviously the trees are much greener now than in my last video. And I took a different approach with this one. I decided that I was going to do a kayak instead. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do that was because I wanted to challenge myself to pack a little bit lighter, a little less stuff, because you can only fit so much into the front of the kayak. There's a fire ban in place at the moment as well, which means that I can't light a fire. And in some ways it's actually kind of a blessing and a curse in a way, because I don't have the tyranny of having to bring heavy, wood, for example, or, trying to find somewhere that's going to have somewhere for a safe fire to be lit or anything like that. And I wanted to run through some of the kit that I've brought with me. This is basically the whole setup, aside from my thermarest, which unfortunately is still quite bulky, but I've whittled it down to quite a small contained package, and I thought I'd run through that with you guys really quickly before we continue on. So first of all, I have my Rab sleeping bag here. This is the Mythic 600. Still a little bit bulky, but it's down, so it's able to compress quite small. It's probably overkill. The weather has been so warm here, up in the 30s some of the days, which is one of the reasons why the main reason why there's a fire ban in place right now. So this is probably a little bit too much, but unfortunately I don't have a smaller, like a summer sleeping bag, so I'm just going to have to make do with this guy. So that's my sleeping bag. I brought my poncho just in case. It's probably not going to rain, but it's better to have it and not need it, I suppose. This is just my Helicontex poncho. And then I've got my, this has kind of got most of the stuff in it, most of the small bits and bobs. This is my YKRA pouch. It's really great. It's got quite a decent size, but in here I have, of course, just my food for this evening, just blow band, just soups and Mexican curry. Got some coffees there. I'm using my new Field and Steel Garcia, and Toby Hobby made me this beautiful leather pouch to go with it, or leather sheets to go with it, so thanks guys for that. So that's a nice kind of ultralight knife to carry. I don't really need to be carrying anything too heavy duty out here. I'm not chopping wood, I'm not batoning, I'm not really doing anything like that, so this is kind of all I need for this evening. Obviously got my head torch, got a bandana in here. This is just in lieu of, or instead of a shemag, because it's just a little bit smaller and lighter, and it's just still does the job if you need to wash or anything like that. So bandana is always good to have. It's also good for first aid if you need to make a sling. What else have I got in here? Just some saw. I've got my face mask. You may laugh, but it's so bright here in the mornings. It gets bright about 4 a.m. and you can get a pretty good night's sleep with this on. So yeah, you might laugh, but it's a good thing to have out here. Anchor, so just some batteries, or spare battery rather. I've got a Sawyer here as well. I'm just attaching this to a regular bottle that I have with me. I didn't bring the Grail or anything like that, just a simple Sawyer. And then some other bits in here, paracord, a lighter, a fork, just a ferro rod, just kind of small bits and bobs, but this kind of keeps everything quite contained, which is nice to have around camps, particularly if you're going on such a lightweight one and you don't have a backpack as such to put everything in or to keep it in the pockets or anything, if you're only just packing into a kayak. So I'll just throw that to the side. And then for my cooking, I'm using the Primus Light. In here I've got the burner and a gas canister, and I've got a spare canister with me as well. So that's pretty much all I need to get my food cooked tonight if I need some hot water, mini first aid kit, everything I need in there. Got the DD ultralight tarp, which is a great investment if you guys are looking to buy a new piece of kit or something and you're trying to size your stuff down. A tarp is always a good thing to be able to size down, and this is the ultralight, and it's great. Then I also have my ticket to the moon. This is their newest one. It's called the lightest hammock, I believe. I think that's just what it's called, the lightest hammock, but it's so small. I think it actually won an award last year at ISPO for best hammock. So it's a really cool little, tiny little hammock that's just so compact. I love it. And lastly, I've got this guy, which is the Alp Kit Bob. The fact that I'm not going to be able to light a fire tonight, it's nice to have something that you can have a bit of ambient illumination with you, so you're not sitting in the dark. So this guy's great. It floats in the water. It's really, really, really bright. I'm not going to need it that bright this evening. It also has an SOS flashing signal, so if you need it for an emergency. So that's just my source of light this evening, along with my head torch. So that's really my kit. In its core, as I said, there is a thermarest involved, which is, again, it's that size, so it's a little bit bulky. But I think it's a nice compact kit, and the beauty of being out here in the summertime is that you know it's not going to be cold. You don't need to be bringing extra layers. You don't need to be bringing like scarves and hats and gloves, things that are bulky, big jackets, anything like that. I have a hoodie with me that I've just been putting on and off today as the weather's been changing. Got a bit of thunder earlier on the lake, and it got a bit windy, so I threw it on. But apart from that, it's really, really warm and really nice here. So I've landed up on this island. I don't know if you can see, but the island behind me here is called Kvinnora, which in Swedish means the women's island. And the reason it's called that is because during the time when Sweden and Denmark were at war with each other, when the invading armies would come in, because this area of Sweden in Skåne used to be part of Denmark, and there was fights and over wars over who owned this part of Sweden. And when armies would be fighting, they would move all the women from around the villages around this area onto this island to keep them safe and protected in the middle of the lake. So I always thought that was a really cool little piece of history of this place, because obviously this place is steeped in history. We've got Viking stones and all sorts around here, so it's a pretty cool area to be in. But I've come up on this island now, and I've realized that it's all very much new growth, and a lot of it. So I'm going to have to actually pack my stuff down, move on, and see if I can find somewhere else. Because there's nowhere to sling my hammock up. It's all just small birch and things behind me here, or behind the camera rather. So I'm going to get back in my canoe, put all this stuff back in it. It only takes a minute to pack it all back in again, and we'll make our way to see if we can find somewhere else. So let's go. Maybe we'll just go to a new island altogether. Pretty great. I mean, we're still at the island here. It almost feels like you're on the mainland. It's that big. Let's see. Well, I found a much nicer spot eventually. We're actually on the same island here as we were previously, just much further around. I found a nice beach to bank up on, get out of the water and get my tarp and hammock set up. It's on a bit of a slant, but that's okay. It's one of the advantages of camping with tarp and hammock is that you can camp on these hilly areas, on these islands and rocky and stuff like that, and it doesn't really matter. Obviously the drawbacks is that you have to find two trees that are equal distance that are going to be big enough to actually hold you. Obviously looking up ahead to see if there's any deadfall or anything that's going to fall down on you in the middle of the night and potentially injure or kill you. But it seems to be a pretty safe spot that I've picked. Also there was a lot of mice this year, so I've been kind of wary about sleeping on the ground. It's one of those seasons where the mice are there's a lot of mice, and I suppose the cycle of the ecosystem here means that because there's a lot of mice, it means that there's going to be a lot of food for the birds. We have a lot of birds of prey here, red kites, we have falcons and things like that, and obviously they eat all the mice and they're able to help their babies grow faster and bigger. So probably next year we'll see much more birds, which is really fun. I think that's a really interesting thing when you see this cycle of animals and how they coexist together. But anyway, still on this island. As I said, I've no real objective with this one, much like the last one. Just wanted to get out and bring you guys along and have a nice chill camp. Wanted to try some ultralight bits. So yeah, so my next step is to get myself some food on. This is just some champignon, some mushroom soup. This blowband stuff is really good. I just picked it up in Ica, but it's pretty good, and it's vegetarian if that's something that you're concerned about or need in your dietary requirements. Then I'm going to use, as I said, my Primus. I love the fact that everything can be contained within this, so this essentially just screws onto this guy like that, and then this guy can just sit. That locks in, and the advantage of that then is that you can actually take this off and you can bring it over to this side and you can hang it off something. So if you were in an area where you couldn't put stuff on the ground, you can actually suspend it and boil your water, which is really useful. There's also 3 little screws that come with it that you can put on the gas burner there, and you can raise it up, and that allows you then to use pans and things like that. So it's just a really great piece of kit. And Joe and Lars Thompson in Freeloftsland turned me onto these, and when I saw Joe with one probably about a year ago now, I figured I'd pick one up. They seem like a pretty good piece of kit to have, and then I'll just have a very simple sport there. So that's the next step. Let's get ourselves some food on. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a woodpecker in the top of this tree. He's making himself a home. Imagine having to make a home with your face. I think it's such an amazing thing that these animals are such. I mean, you can actually feel the vibrations through the tree. That's how hard he's hitting that. It's always pretty cool for me to see these because we don't have woodpeckers in Ireland. This is definitely a novelty to me, so anytime I see one, it's just like a kid. Yeah, pretty cool. it's been a pretty uneventful day. Just very chill. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna finish off cleaning up my stuff here now and maybe have a coffee, chill out and watch the sun go down. Well guys, I was having a snooze and I hear some real heavy noises and snouts, which means I'm sharing this island with boar, which is not ideal. So I'm not quite sure what to do. I didn't have time to get my camera out, so I'm just using my phone. But I mean, these things are fucking scary to me, man. So I'm not sure if I should find another island to sleep on or what the fuck. They're fucking loud, man. You can't hear them now, obviously, but this is boar. See here, you can't really see it, but they've upturned all the ground here. They do that with their snouts. Fuck me, man, they're loud. I don't know if I want to be here or not. I mean, it is only 10 o'clock. I could still technically pack down and find somewhere else to stay. I don't want to be sharing an island. An island, guys, not even like... Okay, maybe I'll... Yeah, I think I'm gonna pack down. Fuck's sake. Well, I decided to go and leave that place. So it's over across the lake. Over there somewhere. I've pulled up on this island here. I guess it's a pretty well used spot because I found this, which is kind of creepy to see in the dark. Just some tables and chairs just kind of here. It would have been creepier, I suppose, if somebody was sitting in them. But so I guess we're gonna use this spot for the night. Just gotta find somewhere for my hammock. I'm thinking maybe just between these two trees here. Should be all right. So I guess that's what's happening now. Just gotta move this fucker out of the way because it's right over my hammock. Man, that's creepy. Well, that was an unexpectedly eventful evening. What I thought was just going to be a simple paddle and a simple tarp setup turned out to be, it was fun, I guess. Kind of a little bit terrifying when you hear the snorting and the shuffling. They tend to dig into the ground and throw up dirt, and there was signs of boar on that other spot, so I probably should have been more aware of that, but I didn't really fancy encountering that guy in the middle of the night, so I'm glad I moved, and I don't think I was being irrational after seeing that guy. But I heard another shuffle this morning down by the water where my kayak is. Immediately woke me up. I think it was about 5 a.m. That, my friends, that's a boar. And yes, they swim. Holy shit, look at this guy. Fuck that. Oh my god, don't come over here. But anyway, eventful to say the least, but it's fine. It's just after 6 a.m. now. I've just been up for a while, had my coffee, and just gonna chill out here for a little bit. Enjoy the morning and maybe pack down and get my ass in gear a little later on, but for now I'm just going to enjoy being out here. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Not quite what I was expecting, but fun nonetheless. So stay tuned for another one, which I'm hoping to do pretty soon. I'm thinking maybe doing a military style. Mosquito just flew into my mouth. A military style camp using only surplus military gear, and I'm going to be doing that in association with the Bushcraft Journal. So I'm going to write a review, or not write a review, but I'm going to write an article, and I'm going to do a camp with just using surplus military gear, so watch out for that. But until then, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and stay safe.